I hope Cristiano is at Barca for a long time because players like him have to be at the best clubs in the world. I'm going to be the first international fan who predicts this talented 18-year-old's future as one of the best players of all time. Cristiano Ronaldo, an icon of world football and widely celebrated as one of the greatest players in history. Here in 2024, he's still going strong and nearing the twilight of his remarkable record-breaking career. But as with any legendary journey, it had to begin somewhere. Today, we see the buzz around young stars like Endrick and Lamine Yamal light up social media. But what did hype look like 2 decades ago for a young Cristiano when he was turning heads? In today's video, we are going back in time, as we love to do on this channel, to look at the rise of the Portuguese superstar. What was the world saying about Cristiano in the early 2000s? Let's dive into the story behind the hype that started it all. I've spent the last 5 months going back in time, unearthing football predictions from the deepest, darkest pits of the internet, and the results were shocking. Cristiano Ronaldo's journey to football greatness had humble beginnings. Born and raised on the small island of Madeira, he displayed extraordinary talent and a passion for football from a very young age. Early videos of him playing in local matches captured his skill, speed, and sheer determination, traits that would soon catch the attention of Portugal's top clubs. By the late 1990s, at just 12 years old, Ronaldo had already left home to join the Sporting Academy in Lisbon, a huge leap for a young boy from Madeira. And it was in August 2001 when Cristiano's breakthrough moment arrived. Still a teenager, he debuted for Sporting's senior team, becoming the first player in the club's history to play for the under-16s, under-17s, under-18s, B team and first team within a single season. His unmatched pace and dazzling footwork on the wing made him an instant standout to fans, drawing attention across Portugal and beyond.
Estávamos em 2001, setembro de 2001.
The weirdest thing about that initial interview with Ronaldo in 2001 is the fact that they capture 9/11 in the video. How bizarre. How much of a football time machine are we really looking at? You could see from early on that people were clearly excited to see young Cristiano play, and having your own standalone interview at 16 in 2001 is a clear sign that he was turning heads in Portugal and putting his name on the map. So we're going back as early as 2002 when people on the internet were first talking about Cristiano. And on the 7th of October 2002, after Cristiano's first team debut, a star is born. On a night where Jardel returns to the starting lineup for Sporting, he's eclipsed by 17-year-old forward Cristiano Ronaldo, who scores 2 goals to lead the Lions 3-0. And there we have it. He finally puts himself on the map in 2002. A star is born. This is the first mention that I found of him on the internet. According to this article, Manchester United and Inter Milan scouts were at that initial game. So contrary to the history we kind of know already, where it was that game, Sporting v United, that made United buy him, this is telling us that United were actually already scouting him from his initial debut at Sporting. Fernando Torres is the most promising player in Europe. L'Equipe announced that the most promising players between 17 and 18, Fernando Torres, who I assume is at Atletico still, Wayne Rooney from Everton, and Cristiano Ronaldo from Sporting Lisbon. 3 names who obviously today are legends of the game, all 3 of them for their clubs and country. 2 of them we didn't know that were actually going to play together and make quite the partnership at Man United. This article is a joke. They didn't even mention Nico Kranjčar. He's 18 and is already wanted by big clubs like AC Milan, which I hope doesn't happen. Kranjčar was a pretty good player. Kranjčar retired from international football in 2013, so he didn't actually go to the World Cup final, but he was a pretty good player. This article is a total joke. How can you not put Diego Rabaz de Cunha? I literally never heard of that. Robinho as best 16-17-year-olds. Robinho is a name we do know. Kind of fell off the face of the earth in 2013 after his return to AC Milan. And yeah, someone we don't really talk about nowadays. So yeah, moving on. Liverpool are in talks to sign the exciting winger Cristiano Ronaldo, and the Liverpool boss is expected to talk to him this week. The 18-year-old is likely to cost around £5 million. Liverpool missed out on Cristiano Ronaldo for 5 mil in 2003. God, I've never seen something like him. I saw the match between Portugal and England, and I couldn't believe that kind of super skillful player. I saw a young Baggio. I saw a young Romario in 88. You know, Romario's still playing now, by the way. Bit of a sidetrack, but he's still playing at like 58 right now. I saw young Raul. I saw young Zidane. And I've never seen a player so complete. There you have it. The only comparable person in the past 20 years, except Maradona, is Ronaldo for PSV and Barca. But even R9 would look ridiculous next to this young Portuguese player. It's just one game, and I've seen him playing okay, and the others look great. But Cristiano, impossible to make a mistake. His dribbles are the most creative and incredible, pure football poetry. He humiliates defenders. He is complete. He crosses well, shoots great, passes well. I want to say, I'm going to be the first international fan who predicts this talented 18-year-old's future as one of the best players of all time. This is a Barcelona fan in 2003. I hope Cristiano is at Barca for a long time, because players like him have to be at the best clubs in the world. This Barcelona fan in 2003 was banking on Cristiano being the best player in history and wanting him to join Barcelona because he needs to be at the best clubs in the world. This is the reason I make these videos, because it is so funny looking back at these things. Fair play to this guy for IDing him at such a young age and putting his balls to the walls, to be fair, saying he's going to be the best. Lucky for this guy, you know, a couple of years later, a young Argentine comes along and does the exact same thing Cristiano does. I would love to get into contact with Visca Barca here, because he sounds like there's a lot of history behind him. So I'd love to get into contact with him and actually, you know, talk to him about some of these players that he's seen and what he thinks for the future of the game, because clearly he really loves football, and I'd love to bring that up to him. If anyone can somehow get in contact with him, let me know, because that is incredible. And wait till you hear this. This Barcelona fan comments to the original Barcelona fan, wait till you see what we have up our sleeve. Our under-17s are something unreal, but Cristiano is very good. I agree. Barcelona under-17s, as you saw from my last video, that year, a young Leo Messi was making his way through the ranks as well. These guys are having a debate about Cristiano and Lionel in 2003. I have to interview this guy. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole, because this guy's seen everyone. GOAT debates in 2003 between these two. I hope Quaresma, Ronaldo, Thiago, and Helder Postiga grace Serie A and not the Premiership. Let's be honest, the Premiership doesn't appreciate players like that. So they all played in the Premier League. Thiago worked out, won the Prem with Chelsea. Ronaldo worked out, won the Prem with United, and is probably the greatest Premier League player of all time. Helder Postiga, I don't know if it worked out for him in Spurs, but they weren't doing bits in the early 2000s. Quaresma, did Quaresma win the Prem with Chelsea? Nah, it was just before that season before. It just didn't work out for Quaresma at Chelsea. Fast forward to 2003, an iconic year for Cristiano. In a pre-season friendly against Manchester United, his electrifying performance stunned the English side and left the gaffer, Sir Alex Ferguson, and the whole of the Man United fan base really impressed. This geezer is wicked. He is better than Ronaldo, Zidane, and Figo put together. Fergie has to act now to get him. That is mad foresight, to be calling 17-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo better than Ronaldo, Zidane, and Figo, which in retrospect he is. A 17-year-old being called better than them three at the time, that is a pretty incredible shout. I really like him. I hope there's a chat after the game tonight. Well, I mean, there literally was. Yeah, I caught the last few minutes. Goddamn feckin' work. He looked class though, his touch was amazing, and he's confident enough to take on players. He has more of an impression than Quaresma. And yeah, I think Quaresma was a lot more of a hyped player than Cristiano was at the time, so it's interesting to see how within a year Cristiano is already impressing fans a lot more than Quaresma was. I feel like Quaresma had a better start to his career at a younger age and fell off a lot quicker, and Cristiano's gone the other way. Last year, Sporting had Ronaldo, Jardel, and Quaresma. charisma, but it's finished. Pipao might be a Sporting Lisbon fan. It looks like their team is just getting ripped apart because that talent they have. I don't know who Jardel is, but obviously having Ronaldo and Quaresma on either wing, both unreal players at the time. Not one for sticking up for Muppets on this site, but Bellion is right. Cristiano is absolutely outstanding. He's the only player I've ever seen stuff John O'Shea. I mean, do you know what? John O'Shea was actually a baller. Flashback to that nutmeg in the 2001 Champions League. Anyway, so it's all down to John O'Shea, really, that Cristiano became the legend he is. He's got shit hair. Looks like a couple of worms coming out his head. I mean, that OG hair probably inspired Noodle Hair Ronaldo, and a lot of people look at Noodle Hair and think that's one of the best styles he's had. He looked good last night, I agree. However, they did mention that on Man United TV that Juve have the first reserve on him. Another mention of a club that later down the line Cristiano goes on to sign for. Just a week later, Ronaldo signed for Man United for a reported 12.24 million, making him the most expensive teenager in Premier League history at the time. By 2003, he made his debut for United, wearing the now famous number 7 jersey, previously worn by club legends like George Best, Eric Cantona. In the 2003-04 season, Cristiano mostly featured as a substitute for Man United. So they're already talking about where does Ronaldo rank in the best players of all time. And as we can see here, out of maybe 100 votes, 4 people voting for he's the greatest player of the modern era. A young Lionel might have something to say about that very soon. 10 people vote he's not top 50, maybe somewhere in the top 100. Then we have a variety from 50 to 5, which a lot of people voted. One person voted third greatest of all time, but in the modern era, the greatest. And at 18 years old, a young Cristiano Ronaldo had 10 people vote that he would be the greatest footballer of all time. That is incredible for some people to see the raw talent on offer in 2003. Of course, we had Lionel Messi, who was only 14 himself in 2003 and he hadn't come around yet. But for an 18-year-old Cristiano to be ranking amongst Maradona and Pele in 2003, who's making ranking lists for Lamine Yamal at this age? They were being compared to Maradona and Pele at 17, 18 years old, before they'd even made senior appearances for big teams. That, I think, tells you all you need to know about these two players in modern times. Throughout the season, Sir Alex Ferguson mainly used him as an impact sub, giving him time to adapt to the physical demands of English football. In his first season with United, Ronaldo's flashy style and fearless approach quickly made him a fan favourite, even though he faced early criticism for the reliance of his stepovers and flair. But Ferguson saw that potential, guiding Ronaldo to balance his skill with substance. However, Ronaldo did start some games as the season progressed, especially in cup games like the FA Cup, where he played more of a prominent role. He even scored in the FA Cup final against Millwall, helping United secure his first trophy with them. His appearances off the bench slowly showcased his potential and he quickly became a fan favourite. He's now wearing the number 7 shirt which legends like George Best were wearing in the past. Could he fit in at United? I only saw the end of George Best's career, so I'm probably not the best person to judge, but I do think Ronaldo has got the potential to be even better than George Best. I was talking to my old man who's been following United since the 1940s. He absolutely idolises George. He's forever telling me how amazing he was. So I said to him, do you think Cristiano Ronaldo will be as good as Best? And I expected him to say no way and go off on another rant about the genius of Bestie. But without a second's hesitation, he said yes, without question. Definitely. That left me gobsmacked. So in 2004, Cristiano, as this raw talent coming into the Manchester United team, people quite clearly saw how good he was at 18. And I can remember those early days because it was the earliest point I was watching football in, like 2003, 2004. So the season Cristiano came on the scene was probably about the season that I was starting to watch football when I was 6 or 7 years old. If you've got old boys saying that George Best, you know, Man United legend, won the Ballon d'Or, won the Champions League, one of the biggest icons in football, and the old boys are saying, yes, this young Cristiano looks like he could be on his level, you know you've struck gold. There's not many occasions when young players are able to impact older fans. It usually takes a few seasons of them doing well to be able to see how good, you know, these players are before they make judgment on them. But Cristiano was 18 and he'd already got the old boys saying, yeah, do you know what? He looks like he might be a Man United legend. To compare Cristiano Ronaldo to George Best is complete idiocy. I mean, Ronaldo isn't half the boozer, chain smoker or womanizer that Best was. How can you compare them? Plus, Best always had a grizzly beard and a blonde babe beside him. Where's Ronaldo's stubble? The boy doesn't even look like he's reached puberty yet. Still magic though. I find it hilarious that this guy sat down and wrote this whole thing. He won't be on the left wing for very long. As soon as Figo's done with the national team, he should be back to his regular position at right mid. Figo wasn't better, how can you say this? As Ronaldo came on with Deco, he finally brought some flair and attack into a very dull Portuguese side on that day. So people are already, like they did with a young Lionel, deciding where Cristiano's best position is. At the time, Ronaldo's game was very wing based, and so his natural position at Man United was right mid / right wing nowadays, but right mid mainly. You know, he finally adopted that position at Man United because David Beckham had left. Ronaldo will be one of the world's greatest players in the coming decade. 2004 he said that. 3 years later, he wins the Ballon d'Or. Dino, spot on, mate. Spot on. Buy of the year? Question mark? Ronaldinho, Edgar Davids, Drogba, Morientes have been more important. In the grand scheme of things, when we look at the Ronaldo for 12 million in 2004 compared to Ronnie, 1 Ballon d'Or, 1 Champions League. Edgar Davids with Juventus. Drogba, 1 Champions League, 5 Prems, no Ballon d'Or. Morientes went to Liverpool in 2006, so 1 Champions League. Cristiano Ronaldo, 1 Champions League, 1 Ballon d'Or. Yeah, he's probably the buy of the year. I don't think Ronaldo's a genius. I can see him play for Manchester, but he is not one of the greatest in the world. Maybe he has potential. He's very quick, skillful at dribbling, and that's about all I saw. He gets slated a lot for diving around this time as well. He finally evolves his game in 2006-2007 and works well with Wayne Rooney, but you genuinely could say the glitz and glamour of Cristiano turning from, you know, a skill player into a goal scorer was the death of Joga Bonito. Okay, he's got quick feet, but he didn't even get past Ashley Cole once when they played in that against that England team. I also think he's uglier than Wayne Rooney. If that teaches you anything about, you know, hating, this kid's 18, 19, and people are just hating on him because he's a football player. All of those things were flipped on their head within 3 years. I mean, Ashley Cole did put up a good fight against Cristiano most of the late 2000s, even in the Champions League final. But other than that, you know, yeah, everything else, he proved this guy wrong. Ronaldo's game evolved rapidly, and by the 2004-05 season, he'd become a key player. By the end of the 04-05 season, Ronaldo's name was well known, not just in England, but across Europe. Fans, media, and opponents alike couldn't deny that raw talent and work ethic. His journey from a small island to Old Trafford was only the beginning. And let's see what the United fans have to say about him before he really basically becomes the best player in the world a year later. He's our answer to Ronaldinho and Robinho. Ronaldinho is just about to win the Ballon d'Or, and Robinho is this, you know, young, brilliant talent and starting for Brazil at a very young age. World Player of the Year in 1 or 2 years. This guy from Wimbledon was absolutely spot on. He won the Ballon d'Or 2 years later after this. Incredible shout. It'd be really interesting to see which players at 18 right now, Lamine Yamal was an obvious choice, who are having their first solid season for their team. You know, Lamine, 17 last season, became a starter towards the end of the season. At 18, Cristiano is already getting Ballon d'Or shouts, and this is his first season at Man United, like his first proper season. Incredible to see. I have a feeling that Ronaldo will be a big play for us this season. He might even steal Rooney's thunder. The United fans are absolutely gassed. Second season in, 12 million, absolute bargain for Cristiano Ronaldo at that point. We saw in the last video, Lionel Messi had this 50 million price tag put on his head at 18. Cristiano has just been bought at 18 for 12 million. And it's kind of the reason why clubs nowadays put such emphasis and price tags on young players. Like, this is quite literally the reason why. And it's kind of ruined the game, but then again, like, what can you do? Like, Barcelona wrote the rulebook on not being shafted and losing one of their best players ever around this time. Think about it. Imagine Sporting did that with Cristiano. The butterfly effect on that would have been a completely different scenario, and Ronaldo could be in a completely different place. Just like any great story, it had to start somewhere. Of course, you guys enjoyed that Lionel Messi episode, so you knew I had to do the Ronaldo one as well. It was quite clear both of the players had such ridiculous raw talent at such an early age, 15, 16, and they were being talked about just like the young Scarlets of today are. They had their doubters, and they proved them all wrong and became the best we've actually ever seen. Thank you so much for joining me on this special episode of the Football Time Machine. These are going down well, so I might just have to carry on in my own style. I'm kind of creating documentary style as we go here, so thank you so much for the love. The last video went down so well, so I hope you enjoy this one. And I guess let me know which player you want me to do next, and we'll take a look into their past. Thanks for watching. Peace.